Thank you, Dale. Thanks to the Friends of the Lowews. Thanks to Dale and the rest of the anti-pipeline group for putting this together. We want to thank our two council people for being here and all of you out there who came down. It's tough to see how many people are out there. It's almost impossible to see beyond the first 10 rows, but we do have, must have at least 100 people here, and we're grateful for that. We have been, all of us, by the way, the council is unanimous in this, have been against this Spectra pipeline since it first reared its ugly head. We put our position in writing back in, I believe it was February at the very latest. We've enlisted the aid of our federal representatives, Senator Menendez, Senator Lautenberg, and our three congressmen who represent our city, Rothman, Ceres, and Payne. And I think everyone's speaking with one voice here. The Spectra pipeline is an outrageous risk of danger for all of our citizens. And you didn't have to see this movie to understand that. You had to just read the newspapers and pay attention to the media. What happened 14, 15 years ago in Edison's? Flames leaping 400 or 500 feet into the air from a gas pipe explosion. 2 months ago out in San Bruno, California, in the vicinity of San Francisco, people were killed, a massive eruption. And by the way, both of those places are much bigger than Jersey City, geographically speaking, and have fractions of the population that Jersey City has. We're a small city, a little under 15 square miles. We have 250,000 people, and between Monday and Friday, 9 to 5, that population doubles. So if something like that occurred in Jersey City, the effects would be nothing short of a major catastrophe. Not to mention that we are an employment hub, a residential hub, a transportation hub. This pipeline is going to run along the New Jersey Turnpike, veer close to the PATH trains, close to the Holland Tunnel, by schools, hospitals, and population centers. And in effect, what it's going to do is render a whole section of our city, because it's coming from our southeast end of our city, all the way up almost to our northern extreme. It's going to go through about 6.5 miles of our city. And then it makes a right along the Holland Tunnel, going east, and then thence under the Hudson River, and it pops up on 14th Street in New York City. And when you do the risk-benefit analysis, we bear all the risk, we here in Jersey City, and the good people of New York City get all the benefits. What that's going to do is, I believe that land, maybe not while we're all here, but over the next decade or so, that land is going to be very valuable for future citizens in Jersey City. I believe that strip of land that they're going to run this pipe has tremendous potential for investment and development for our citizens in our city into the future. Bringing tax dollars, bringing jobs, all good things for our city. This pipeline would be a terrible disincentive for anyone to invest, come, build, or do any kind of business along that strip and in our city in general. So I think that no matter what monies they give us, the danger is so paramount, and the tremendous diminution in value to that valuable land in our valuable city is never going to, no matter what they gave us, it could never compensate for that. And while they're not going to do what they call fracking here in Jersey City, they are still transporting this tremendously volatile substance through our city. And you just saw where these substances come from, where this substance comes from. And that film was informative, instructive, and frightening, I believe. And it's instructive and informative to us. Some people may say it doesn't apply to us because they're not going to do fracking here in Jersey City. But they're going to do fracking, and they are doing fracking all over the country, as we can see, and very close by us in nearby Pennsylvania, they're planning to do it. But what that film showed you, and what it's instructive on, is the attitude of the industry. They do not care. So what they're telling us about the safety of the Spectra pipeline and how this is going to be a fail-safe system, I don't think anybody believes that. But that's the source of that information. The folks that you saw dodging questions, denying the terrible dangers and the terrible problems that their industry creates. That's who you're going to be dealing with this pipeline. It's the same thing. So I think that the film was tremendously instructive and terrifying, but it shows you what this industry is like. They just don't care. As long as they can bring in more dollars, that's their main goal. We have gone to Trenton months ago to speak with folks in Governor Christie's office, and we've told them about our concerns and how adamantly opposed we are to this Spectra pipeline. And I would ask all of you to speak among your friends, talk to your friends, tell them to write to our state legislators, state assembly people, state senators, our U.S. representatives that I talked about, and very importantly, write to the governor and call the governor and his staff and get him behind this effort to stop this terrible proposal from coming to our city. That's what I'd ask you to do, and I think that from the talks that I've had with people in Trenton, I think they're leaning that way. So a push from a lot of the people in this room could push them to the right side of this equation, and I think we have a great chance of stopping this pipeline. I'm sure some of you were there at Ferris High School several months ago when it's 90+ degree heat and humidity, when we had our opportunity to list our concerns, complaints, and objections to this pipeline before the Federal Energy Regulatory Commission, called FERC. Keep doing that. Every opportunity we have, write to them, and I think you can see how some of our federal committees may not be fully engaged and may not understand the issues or the problems, and it's up to us to push this issue, to enlighten them, and make sure they are engaged and that they are on our side and they put a stop to this thing. That's all I have to say. Thank you for coming, and I think together, all of us on the city council and all of you and the rest of the city, we can stop this thing before it gets rolling.